tell them what we're doing?
So we stripped the nut because nothing worked to try and get it off, no matter what wrench we had. So now I'm basically resorting to the Dremel tool of like trying to cut the nut off while reserving and saving the threads on the bolt inside of it. So trying to cut a little bit and then chisel away and try and rotate it with the hammer and repeat process. Very messy job. This is not going that great. So what happens when you buy cheap Chinese motors? They're great in some instances, like they're reliable, but in terms of the manufacturer over torquing a lot of the bolts on here, they do that, and that causes issues like this. And also there's designs where you can't get a freaking wrench on there either, so because it's too little spacing. Alright, so we've had some success since the last update. We were able to get off that nut. Oops. So we took off the nut here. Basically how I did it was the Dremel tool, I just chopped at it. I guess that might have loosened it up, and that allowed me to take it off. So now we took out the governor arm that sits underneath the gas tank, which is why we were trying to get to the governor all along, or we'll get to all along by removing the gas tank. So we took that off, that's here now. So now we took all the springs out, all the stuff that linked up to the carb. So now the next step in getting the governor out is taking off the faceplate of the crankcase and then taking out the actual gear and that little black lever arm that controls the governor. Like the gear hits that lever arm, that turns, and then that makes all the mechanisms up on top go. So I'm going to be taking off the crankcase now, and then we'll go from there. Wait, Will, say bye to the camera, say bye to YouTube. Will's got to go help his girlfriend get a ride. Alright, crankcase is about to come off. I'm gonna drip some oil, so I'm taking Matt Burns precautions.
Just being prepared, that's all.
Alright.
He's gonna run over that cone.
Nice.
Beautiful.
You have like a little flap thing.
Do they get like a little performance cam for it and everything?
Yeah, you can get cams for these guys. Alright, so we've got the crank cover off the engine now, so now what we've got to do is actually take out, there's a little black arm in here, that the governor arm, as probably many of you know that have worked with this engine. So we got to lock that top part out so we can drop it out from the bottom, and then take the plastic governor gear out in the back corner. So we're going to be doing that now. Alright, so next what we got to do is when you take the little governor arm out, you got to put in a bolt of some sort to plug that hole so oil doesn't spew out the top of the engine. So we're going to just take this little guy. This hole isn't threaded, but this bolt is pretty close in size, so we're just going to hopefully try and like self-tap it through. Matt's going to hold a paper towel underneath so we catch any metal shavings so those don't end up into the crankcase.
How many subs are you at? You passed 8 grand?
So I'm like 7949. Last time I checked. There we go.
You get it?
Air filter. I'd like to get a performance one.
How much for those?
You can go buy a full hop-up kit, so you get a new header,
Okay.
air filter, and you get a carb jet for like $100. Alright, there we go.
Perfect, you're not poking through the bottom at all.
No? Okay. Okay, so we got the little nut in, or the bolt in up here, so that's capped. So now the next step is to try and get that plastic gear out in the back. That's going to be interesting to try and get out. Alright, go for it. Alright, we almost have it off. We just have this center chunk of plastic from the gear to take off. That's almost got it. Oh yes. Like playing Operation.
There.
Got it out. Where is it? Oh, there you go. Nice.
Success right there.
So now what we've got to do is we got to go in there. There's some remaining plastic pieces. You can probably see up where the governor gear used to be. So we got to go in there and clean that out. There's also a washer back there we got to grab too. Alright, so that little piece is the governor gear. We spent 3 hours working to get out. Combination of like getting all the pieces off the top of the engine to get to the governor arm. That if that one nut didn't stop us, it would have probably taken an hour less. But we are now on our way where we've taken it out. We made sure there were no more plastic or metal pieces, some shards left in the crankcase, and now it's time to reassemble. So we got to make sure that the crank shaft, actually the dot on that aligns up with the dot on the camshaft. So we're going to be doing that, and then we'll put the case back on, bolt everything back up, and then we'll do some speed testing. Alright, so we threw the camshaft back in there. One thing you also want to make sure is you align the dots to make sure the timing is right. So the dot on the crankshaft gear should align with the dot on the camshaft gear. So now that we did that, the casing, can't see it because it's out of focus, but the casing's on the ground over there, so we're going to go ahead and throw all those bolts back up and throw the casing on, bolt it up, and put the gas tank all back together.
With the camera right behind you and taking a picture. Now where do we put the screws for that?
Oh, right here. One thing I should maybe look up is the torque setting for this. Alright, so we got it all put back together. Engine's all bolted back up. The chain's back on. Everything is good to go. So we're going to fire it up for the first time. See what happens. I know some people have had issues with the throttle spring return, but I've already had an extra throttle spring return even with the governor on, so I don't think that'll be an issue. So let's go ahead and fire it up, see how it goes. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Come on, start. It doesn't even sound like it's going. I have more gas.
Let's toss them a little just for the hell of it. Just give it an easy toss.
All right, Andrew, do you want to tell them what happened?
All right, so we put, as you guys probably saw, we put everything back together, tried to start it up, and it wouldn't start. And something kind of just seemed off, like wasn't making. It still has compression. It's not like over compressed. So I know we aligned up the cam and crankshaft dots right, but it wasn't firing. And so I checked on some forums, and some people said that when you take the cam out, sometimes the valve cover or the rocker arms and the tappets get misaligned, so we're taking off the valve cover to see if that's the case, so we can try and start this thing. Alright, so good thing I looked on the forums, because so I pulled the valve cover off, and here's our culprit. So you can see the rocker arms are misaligned from the push rods and the valves. So now you can see the rocker arms are not even touching the push rods and the valve springs. So we gotta realign those, and then hopefully from there we should be good to go. Alright, here we go. Now that we realigned the valves and the rocker arms, let's give it a whirl. Okay, so take 3. We pulled the valve cover off and realized that only one rocker arm and was moving when you pulled the pull cord. So we messed with the push rod and we took it off, put it back on. We thought like we had tightened it down too much. It still didn't change it. So I was like just messing with it, and I like pushed it, and it like popped back into place, and then I pulled the pull cord and they both moved, you know, with the stroke of the cam and the crankshaft. So here we go for try 3. Gas. Start. Ready? Alright, well, unfortunately we could not get it to start, even though that both rocker arms were moving when we pulled the pull cord. We also drained the bowl just to make sure it wasn't, because the engine or the carb was flooded. So we drained that, tried it again, didn't work. Pulled the valve cover again. So we're not sure. So when we pulled when we were pulling out the governor. When we were pulling out the governor, I know it's not a valve, but it looked like a valve because the valve wouldn't be going to the crankcase. But one of these valve-looking things fell out. So we're unsure if like that's what it is. Is something misaligned? So if you guys have any knowledge of why this engine might not be starting after removing the governor, please let me know. Give me some ideas. I'm also going to try a new spark plug. Hey Matt, why don't you just pull it and see, so you can give them an idea of what it sounds like, so they can kind of hear.
Watch it start right now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Ready, guys? It's gonna start.
Make sure it's on switch, gas on.
Alright, it's for you right here. I'd be so mad.
So it's like, I can see like, something coming out of the exhaust here, but so I really have no idea. It sounds like there's compression. The cord isn't, you know, as notchy as like it would be as it was before. So I don't know if there's like not enough compression. We made sure that the cam and the crankshafts were aligned with the 2 dots. We put it back together, as you guys saw. But we really have no idea why it's not starting. So I'd really appreciate it from the viewers, if for those that have done governor removals and have maybe experienced the same problem, if you could fill me in. So over this next week, then I can kind of plan what I'm going to do. Matt's going to come over next Friday, and we're going to try fixing this. We're also going to try maybe a spark plug. It sounds like we're not getting any sort of ignition, so maybe that could be the issue. I don't know why the spark plug would randomly go bad, but we could try that. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you all very much for watching today. I apologize that we couldn't get it running and do another time test to see how much faster it is, but it'll be content for next Friday. So stay tuned. Let me know if you guys have any comments or questions in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you haven't already to the channel for more awesome go-kart stuff. We'll see you guys in the next video.